Hey everybody, welcome back to Small Attainable Goals. I'm Sean, and here is the next part of Erin Ashley Goldman or Iridescent Scarabs interview. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you do. All right, let's get into it. Going back to what you said before, I know that I've said that like 5 times, but
that's okay.
That's what I do. When big offshoot, so I got diagnosed with OCD at the beginning of the pandemic because I was like freaking out over germs because like my mom got COVID and I was like just like, oh my God, everything needs to be like washed. So I went a little nuts with the bleach and washed every grocery that we got with bleach, and it got to the point where like I didn't have fingerprints for a while. So yeah. And then like my doctor was like, oh yeah, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. And I was like,
oh,
okay. I thought that was like, you have to like organize stuff. And she was like, no, not always.
Yeah. That's what I thought too.
And then I started getting treated for that. And then like my depression started getting a little bit better. My anxiety started getting a little bit better.
Really?
So yeah. So I mean, like if you think that you have a chance of like having OCD, you might want to get reevaluated.
Exploring for sure, because I just feel so much more aware of my experiences now, and I'm more my emotional intelligence has developed more, where I can articulate more of like the physical sensations, the thoughts that I'm thinking, the patterns, what triggers it. So I think, yeah, it's always good to talk about. It's always good to keep exploring those things because they change, they evolve. For me, my issues and symptoms, they do get exacerbated like during certain life events and change or transitions. Is really
Change is not fun when you have any sort of mental illness. Like all the people, like that was always my big thing with like, I got very lucky. I met my best friend when we were 5 and we've been best friends like ever since.
Besties ever since?
Yeah. So, we've been friends for over 2 decades. And so like he's always been there. And then I also have my sister who's always been there too. So I had like 2 people that were always there, and like no matter what I said, they would just be like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. I think you're okay. Like kind of like just like a calming voice to have, which is always good. But like at the same time, because I always had them, I also was never really good at like, I could like make friends, but like I was not good at maintaining friendships because like I was like really brutally honest because like that's how I am with my best friend and my sister. And then like other people are like, oh, hey man, do you want to see these pictures of my kid? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, do you have any like pictures of your dog? Because I'll look at those, but like I don't really care about your kid. And they're just like, okay. And then like my best friend will be like, dude, that's super rude. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Listen, I'm jealous of that because I had the opposite. I had this like people pleasing thing of like saying things that I thought people wanted to hear. And
like, I get that.
But like I would love to just be like, nope. Like,
yeah.
I want to see that.
Yeah. It is
liberating.
It can be nice sometimes, and then like other times it just like people are just like, oh my God, they're so rude. And you're just like, no, I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't.
It depends on the audience.
Yeah. Just like, I don't care that your kid went to the beach for the first time. That's great. He had fun. That's great. I've been to a beach before. I don't like it. I don't care about your kid being on the beach. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's not a lot you can do with that, to be honest.
Yeah. And then it's like always like 30 different pictures of things.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing. And you're just like, oh, that's great.
Like
oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I've always had the bad habit of like when people like try to like tell me something, if I don't find it interesting at all, I'm just like, I don't find that interesting. Sorry. And then like as I got older and like recently I found out like, oh, that's probably ADHD.
Yeah.
But like I was just always like the weird kid who was just like, I have no interest in that. I'm sorry. And then another one that I found out that ADHD people have is like you want people to speed up their stories. So like sometimes I will like, I've always done that, and people are just like, oh God, like people who are used to me will actually speed up the story, but like new people are like, my God, why do you want me to speed it up? I'm like, because this is really boring. I'm sorry, like you're taking forever. to
Do
tell me
you
that
listen to podcasts or audiobooks on like double the speed?
no, I only listen. It's weird. Like the only people I only really listen to like comedians and stuff
Yeah.
because even when they're just completely rambling, at least it's funny and it like kind of like reminds me of like talking to like my friends and family.
True,
But
true.
like I never can listen to. But like I used to watch like movies and stuff on like 1.5 speed or something. If it was like one of those like drawn out scenes, like in like I've still never understood how people like to like be anxious. And I'm like, I feel like this all the time. Why do you like this?
Oh, you
Like
mean with, like, certain movies or,
yeah,
like,
like oh, I'm
horror,
on the edge of my seat.
thriller, like, certain genres like that? Yeah, no, I can't. I'm
Like
scared enough every day
oh
with
yeah,
thoughts that I don't need to be amplified in this nightmare story I'm about to see.
yeah. And I just like I mean, I'm a big guy. I'm tall, and I've been over 6 foot since I was like 12.
Oh, wow.
So but because my parents were terrified and had really bad anxiety about me getting kidnapped, I was always like to this day, if a car slows down next to me, even though I'm a grown man, I still go like, "Oh God, this is it. They're gonna take me.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
God."
It's just, like,
And
ingrained in you.
yeah, and it's just like, oh God, I don't know. And then people are just like, "Yeah, I want to go see a movie about that." I'm like, why?
I'm too sensitive. I can't. I have to be really, like, mindful about what I consume, and it's a lot of comedies.
Yeah, same comedies.
Sci I like sci-fi a lot.
Sci-fi's good. Superhero stuff for me.
Yeah, love that.
And then the occasional I can watch like unsolved mysteries if they're from
Oh.
like at least 70 years old. Because
Yeah,
then in my head I'm just like everyone's dead.
that's
Like
yeah.
like the Zodiac killer, like he's
Yeah,
probably dead.
yeah,
Like I watched that movie. I was like, okay, like even if he was 20 at the time, he would be in his 80s right now. So
right,
I
right.
could take an 80-year-old, probably. So
Hard because like true crime is so fascinating, right?
it is.
But it's like every time I like get in too deep with one, I'm like, why did I do that? Because my
Yeah.
imagination,
Like I love it, the mystery of it all, but at
that
the same time, it's like I know this does not have a happy ending,
doesn't
and
have a as well.
I don't
It's
I
not
don't need this. I don't need this.
yeah.
That's like I don't watch. There's like a website called like doesthedogdie.com,
Oh,
and
thank goodness.
I watch that. I go on that every single time I see a dog in a movie
Yeah,
or
I
like
can.
an animal, and I go on there and I'm just like, can I finish this? Okay,
It's
good.
like if the people get hurt in a movie, fine. You have more like wherewithal to be like, they're actors. That's
Yeah.
fake. When it's an animal or a dog,
Oh yeah.
I
Devastating.
mind can't.
Yeah. That was
That's
because
what
like
made that website.
yeah, that was because they originally like that was why animals are like treated so well on set now because like originally they would just like they like ran a horse off a cliff or something in like the 1920s and they were like yeah we can't really we can't make the fake horse look good so they're just like oh, let's just kill a real one and then you're like my god
Horrible, horrible.
yeah Hollywood's kind of gross. I don't know how you wanted to be an actor.
It was brief, and luckily with like the social media stuff, I still feel like I can use some of that stuff even with the property management. Like acting has kind of a weird reputation, but it's helped me in every profession I've ever
Oh
been.
yeah, I can see that. It helps you open up and like
Oh,
enunciate and stuff like that. I saw some of your acting.
yeah.
I watched two of your clips on YouTube. You played the one of them. You were the over-aggressive girlfriend who was very territorial.
Wait, that's on YouTube?
Yeah,
What?
and another one you were just kind of the not so nice boss lady. You did a good job. I mean,
Cute.
your
Both,
character was awful, but like you
yeah,
were great
yeah.
as the character.
I played some awful characters, which is so surprising, but it's so fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably easier to get like to be someone who isn't you, so then you can just kind of like you can go
Oh,
overboard.
yeah. It's so fun, and it's such, that part of it was like how I dealt with my mental health. It's like becoming someone else, like stepping into
Mhm.
someone else's shoes, getting a break from mine. You know what I mean? So the like artistry and creativity that was part of that process really felt super therapeutic for me. The part that was not therapeutic was like going on auditions, breaking out into hives, you know.
Not getting the call back or
No,
getting
you
and I
take it
mean,
personally.
yeah, I mean, you're also in Hollywood, so I can only imagine that there were no shortage of like
Please.
skeevy, yeah, just like
Oh yeah.
casting directors and
Oh
stuff like,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
100% have had, you know, all kinds of experiences like that,
yeah,
definitely. So it's
yes.
very nice.
Sorry on behalf of all men.
Thanks so much.
They're awful.
Like that industry is just like
At least now it like seems like it's getting better, but like
it does.
I doubt that I doubt that it really is. Like, but
Yeah.
who knows? Hopefully it is.
But the benefit about social media and like doing everything on your own is that there's no people, there's no like, well, there's no live audience watching you when you're like
Yeah,
things. So you're more in control, which was like a deal breaker for me. And there's no creepy, you know, producers or anything like
yeah,
that in
that's
your
good.
at least. So
And
I don't
also, you can like put stuff out and just like be like, I didn't like that. I'm going to do that again. And you can do
know.
as many retakes as you want.
Totally. And you know, you can block. That's a really nice feature. The
It is
block,
great.
the delete button, you know, like you have a lot of tools at your disposal here in this day and age. So that's pretty cool.
It is great.
Yeah.
I do love blocking people. I like muting people too, just to, like from the idea of like they're still like probably yelling into the void,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And you
like I'm not responding.
yeah,
Mm,
exactly. It's like you're protecting your peace, but you don't have to make anyone feel
yeah.
bad.
So I don't know if how accurate this was, but I found online that you were a model for a while.
Yeah.
Was that? I mean, like obviously you're very beautiful and like that makes sense, but
Oh.
how was that for your mental health, if you don't mind me asking? Like I feel like that would be
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Listen, we'll use the term model loosely because unlike you, I'm 5'1". Like that's how I
Mhm.
got past at Disney. Like I'm quite short. So it was never like the typical
Were there any rides that you can go on?
no, thank
Oh,
God I met.
that's good.
That's a legit question.
Yeah.
No, I got on the roller coaster. That was really fun. There's one in Disney, California. It goes upside down. That one's a really fun one.
That's cool.
But that stuff I kind of did just in college as a form of like self-expression. Like, you know, I in like 2014, I started out with like the fashion blogging. And I would say that took the most extreme toll on my mental health, more so than the brief kind of modeling stuff that I did. A lot of it was with my friends. We would just dress up and get weird and just like take
That's cool.
pictures. And at that time, post it on Facebook. Like it's so cringe now, but that's how we would like express ourselves. And it would be
Yeah.
so fun. And we'd play music. And, you know, that was just sort of like a self expression thing. But when I started to do it as like a career, and it was the golden age of influencers on social media where everything was perfectly curated and edited and made to look super effortless. That wrecked me because I felt like I couldn't keep up with like the standard that was out there, which was perfection.
Yeah.
I'm so aware of my behind the scenes that I was comparing myself to everyone else's highlight reel. And I then kind of changed my content to I documented every time I had a depressive episode. I made it all about mental health. I showed my hives, like when I was having anxiety. And I was like, I just want something real. I just want to be real on the internet. Like, I don't want to keep dressing up on the weekend and getting in front of a camera when I feel like shit about myself. When
Yeah.
my mom is my photographer and I'm interrupting her day off, like she's working full time too. I was working full time in property management. I was exhausted. I was like, this is not sustainable. And, you know, at the time, it was so new that people weren't really aware of how much it impacts your mental health. And then in 2020, now with TikTok and video, short form video content, people are like begging for authenticity. We're like, we're so sick of the curated, we're so sick of the perfection and the Facetune and the editing. And that's where I felt like I had to take a break from social media for 3 years because of it. I stopped posting. I didn't stop using social media, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I have lost some sense of myself, and I already had my anxiety and depression, and this is making it so much worse. I can't stop comparing myself, and
Yeah.
that's no place to be. I need to like work on myself, find myself, who the hell I am, step into my power, and then I can come back and kind of speak my truth, I guess.
Yeah. That's good.
Along
That's a good way to, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, I got lucky during the pandemic and
with
I still feel kind of bad about it because like a bunch of people's lives like fell apart. And like I lost my job then because like there was nothing to do because everyone was working at home. So no one needed their dogs walked. And I was like, oh God, this is awful. But like I also got lucky where my therapist was like, hey, I'm not going to charge you right now.
oh,
So let's just,
yes.
get you better. She's great. I mean, she did tally up everything, but she kept the tab. But
Well, like you could tell that like she cared about
oh
you.
yeah, she
Yeah.
100% did, and she actually like cares about her patients, and
Yeah,
she didn't really care about like the money. Like
exactly.
she like would tell me like, look, money's great, but like I'm doing fine, so I don't need to
Yeah,
worry about it. And I was
yeah.
like, oh, God bless you, because
That's
I am.
absolutely perfect. Like, there's nothing worse than feeling like you're just like not a
Yeah,
person. You're just like a dollar sign and part of
yeah.
the business. And
That's the one thing that you should look for when you're like looking for a psychiatrist and stuff. Like eventually, like yes, at the beginning, the big like upfront like fee sucks. I
yeah,
got lucky enough that like my grandma was like, "Look, you're going to a psychiatrist because I'm not going to lose you too." And I was like, "Okay,
yeah,
fine." So she like covered it, and then that happened. Like I would go, and it is expensive. That's the thing that
it's
sucks.
so,
It's like it
it's,
costs money, and it really does suck.
yeah,
But also, if you have a good psychiatrist, they know that like you will do if you're doing better and you're feeling better, then you'll probably end up making more money and be able to pay them too. Like
exactly,
because
exactly.
like when you're feeling shitty, like yeah, you're broke and
Yeah,
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 that
it's a big
like
part of it.
like I can't get out of bed. Like I didn't get out of bed for like a week one time. One day like I slept for like 22 hours straight.
Yeah,
Just like whenever my depressive episodes like get bad, it's like I just kind of like shut off from like the whole world around me.
me too, for sure.
And it always sucks. But like thankfully I have like people who are like, hey, you need to get out of bed.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
So
My mom does that with me, but like if I am feeling depressed or going through like an episode or something, it's like I'll wake up, but then I will wind up back in bed.
yeah.
If that makes sense.
I've done that too. You
Yeah,
just kind of don't leave your room or
exactly.
like the only thing that you do is like you go to the kitchen and I
Yeah,
also eat my feelings a
me
lot.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, so that's always fun. Like
Yes.
I was
Yep.
like at I was over like 450 a few years ago.
Wow,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I lost it. Now I'm like down to 300. So
For
that's
you.
pretty cool. Yeah.
That's really hard to do.
It was actually not super hard. I mean, it was hard, but it wasn't super hard because the pandemic happened and my OCD kicked into overdrive and I was afraid to eat out. So I was just making
Oh,
like white chicken breast because that was all I knew how to make. So
healthy.
yeah, so it was just like semi-healthy stuff,
Oh,
which was like good, but also sucked.
I feel that.
So the iridescent scarab you got from your babysitter?
The necklace, yeah.
Yeah. I when I looked it up and I was like, what the hell is iridescent scarab mean? I thought that you like made jewelry too.
I know. It was during the era again of that like golden age of influencers where like the names had no relation to their blog or what they were doing. It was just kind of like these
Yeah.
weird names. And so I'm like, yeah, that's a little confusing. But
But I
it's
mean it's cool. iridescent scarabs look cool. So
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a nice Google image search if you
yeah,
do that.
I bet you're gonna love the Blue Beetle movie that's coming out.
Oh, there you go. I
That'd be
didn't know
cool.
there was one coming out, but represent.
Yeah, I mean it's a superhero movie, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's by DC though, so it probably won't
I
be
was
good.
gonna say, yeah, as a DC,
Yeah, probably won't be great. So
I'll still see it.
yeah. You have talked about how you do kind of like a combination of your treatments. This was like 5 years ago when I found not it wasn't 5 years ago when I found it, but it was an old video where you talked about you were on medication for your depression and anxiety, and then you would also do like meditation and stuff, and you wanted to get off the pills, but I don't know if did you manage to get off them completely or
Yeah, yeah.
that's good.
So I'm in a really interesting era. We can call it raw dogging, but I feel like I'm doing the best that I've done in a really long time. And I'm not on medication, and I just recently left my therapist. So it's a really kind of vulnerable
Yeah.
time, and it's hard work. Like I'm so like I'm a religious meditator. Like
Hmm.
when I found meditation, it just completely changed the game for me with my anxiety, definitely. And it's not magic. It doesn't take it away, but it's like when you're feeling anxious or you're feeling panic, the best way I can explain it is you feel like you're holding a shield, and you have the shield that kind of bounces off some of the energy. So you're
Yeah.
not feeling it at like a 10, it's maybe a 5.
Hmm.
And that has been like I can't go a day without it,
That's
basically.
good.
So that's
How long
my
do you meditate for?
so now I do a really specific kind of meditation called transcendental meditation,
Hmm.
which is really cool. It's expensive, but you go to school for it. You have like 3 days of these like kind of seminars, and they're really cool and they're really fascinating. They talk about your brain being like ocean waves, and they
Yeah.
give you a mantra. And each person has a completely unique mantra and their secret. You're not allowed to tell anyone your mantra. And it's not an actual word because the brain can't, like, they don't want the brain to associate it with anything. So it's just
Hmm.
a word that anchors you deep in your thoughts. It's the easiest form of meditation. And the way you do it is 20 minutes, 2 times a day. So I'll do mine right when I wake up. Like every day, I start my morning with a 20-minute meditation. And then I'll do it actually my second one, like midday, to get kind of energy boost in the middle of the day. I don't do it right before bed just because sometimes I can feel a little bit energized after the meditation.
Hmm.
But that in combination with I do Tai Chi as well. I've been doing Tai Chi for over 10 years. And I like to do yoga. Like all of that stuff really, really helps me maintain my mental health. But honestly, I'm a huge advocate of medication as well. Like there are periods in my
Yeah.
life that I would not have been able to get through without medication. And like, I know everyone's different. For me, it worked. Like
Yeah.
I got out of that depressive episode. Like it stopped. Like it worked. I felt like content. Like it
Yeah.
helped
That's
anxiety as
good.
well. Like I just didn't like it actually really did work for me. So for people who are like kind of, I think it really just depends on where you're at. If you can get through a day, you have to be really aware of what you're experiencing. And I think
Yeah.
that can sometimes be the toughest part. But I also think it ebbs and flows based on what you're going through in life. Like there's a chance that I'll be on medication again, and I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I've always been a big proponent of medication, like if you need it, of course, but that's mainly because just for me, I mean, it was like night and day
Yeah,
between like,
exactly.
having it. And I'm all for like, like people who, transcendental meditation, regular meditation.
Yeah,
That's all like, I get that that's really helpful to a lot of people. I get a lot of people who are, like they pray and stuff
yeah,
for that kind of stuff. And totally fine with
yeah.
all of that. And, I get that that can actually really help people, like crystals and stuff. I know that a lot of people like those. Yeah. And like, I get that. But
Super
like,
cool.
the thing that always, but like everyone always like thinks that like I hate that kind of stuff because I get mad sometimes
Yeah, yeah.
about it. But I don't like it when people, my whole thing is I don't like it when people say that like a crystal is going to cure your depression.
Yeah, no. I don't
Like,
even think meditation is a substitute for medication.
yeah.
either. Like,
Yeah.
lifestyle choice.
I've seen like so many people. Like there was this one kid at when I worked at the gym as like as a coach. I would also work as like a counselor for the camp stuff. So it was like teenage kids, and like one of the kids like was just absolutely riddled with anxiety and was like freaking out. And then I was like, I think that like I was like talking to them, and I was like, I think that you should like maybe I don't know like try to tell your parents like maybe you want to go see somebody and like talk to them or something, maybe talk to your doctor or something. And then like the kid like told me like they were like, actually my mom gave me this crystal and she said that it'll suck all the bad thoughts out of my head. And I was just like immediately heartbroken. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, kid.
Listen, I love crystals. I collect crystals, but I know that it's more for fun. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's like a great thing, and I get how that can like I have a chain that my grandma gave me when I was like 10. And like that makes me feel good. Like I don't think that like it has like magic powers or anything, and if I like take it off like I'm gonna get struck by lightning. But I do like having it on, and it kind of gives me like a confidence boost when I have it on.
Yeah,
it's just like a mind thing.
Holding them can feel good,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure if you got in like a bad mood, like smashing a crystal would probably be pretty cool. I think that would be fun.
If there's like if it's like a geode, then that would
be that'd be awesome. And I mean, like rocks are cool too. Like I used to have geodes as a kid. That was awesome.
Yeah, nature in general actually is very helpful too.
It is, and like the getting outside, getting in the sun, and all that.
It's just getting there.
Yeah, that's always the tough part.
That's the tough part.
Well, it's funny because like all of my friends like work in offices and stuff, and I'm outside all day in the sun, like walking dogs. So like they'll like want to go outside, and like my one friend like came up from Texas, and he was like, dude, let's go to the reservoir. We can like walk around the trail. And I was like, why? And he's like, and he's like walking in it, and it was horrible because like we were like a mile in, and he's like exhausted. And he's like, oh God, and like he's in like better shape than I am. Like he looks like it anyway. Like he works out and stuff, but like we were just did like a mile, and he's like exhausted, and he's like, I have to sit down. And I was like, what? And he's like, how are you not like tired? And I was like, I do this like every day. Like I do like 10 miles a day. And he's like, oh God.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely different than an office job.
Exactly. Sure. And like, I'm just like, no wonder you're so pale. My God, that sucks.
Yeah, I can relate. Yes.
I hope that you get out in nature.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching Small Obtainable Goals. Hopefully this helped you in some way or another, or it can, help somebody that you know. If you're having trouble, call 988. That's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and they'll, hook you up with somebody who can help you in your local area. It's all free, so, take advantage of it. And, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, or don't, whatever makes you happy. I'm Sean. This is my sister, Kirsten.
I'm Kirsten.
Yeah. You've ruined it. All right. Thanks, everybody.
And cut.